If Night of the Living Dead were made in the 80s, this would be what it would look like.
Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you.
Alright, what up, freaks? I'm Eric Harris, and welcome to the Death Twitch. Today, you voted for it, so we're going to review The Return of the Living Dead from 1985.
The Return of the Living Dead.
More brain. Do you want party? It's party time. We got a party. It's party time. Do you want party?
They're back from the grave and ready to party. The Return of the Living Dead. Rated R.
We got a party.
Alright, so Return of the Living Dead came out in 1985, and it was written and directed by Dan O'Bannon. This movie is a pseudo-sequel slash meta-parody of the 1968 Romero zombie classic Night of the Living Dead. Only Return of the Living Dead differentiates itself from the Romero zombie classic by adding humor and a rebellious punk rock attitude to their 80s zombie movie. Okay, so the history of Return of the Living Dead and how it ultimately got made is a little bit convoluted, and I don't want to get muddled down in the details, but I'll give you a quick summary of the best that I understand it is that the person who wrote the original Night of the Living Dead is John Russo, and after that movie was released, he retained the rights to Living Dead, the words Living Dead, and then George Romero retained the rights to the title of the Dead. So after Night of the Living Dead came out, they kind of had to have a little court battle, and so that John Russo could retain the rights to Living Dead and make his own movies or sequels with that title. And then, you know, Romero went his way and did all the Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead movies, Land of the Dead, and all that stuff. So John Russo began work on a script to make Return of the Living Dead. He originally wanted Tobe Hooper involved. Tobe Hooper ultimately backed out to make Life Force, and then that's when Dan O'Bannon was brought in. Now, this movie has so many fucking connections to other horror movies. It's like the 6 degrees of horror. I actually had to fucking take notes, so I'm gonna give you a rundown real quick the best I can. As I just said, originally written by John Russo, who was also involved in Night of the Living Dead. They wanted to bring in Tobe Hooper of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Funhouse fame. He dropped out to do Life Force, which was also written by Dan O'Bannon. So then Dan O'Bannon was brought in to do the script for Return of the Living Dead. Dan O'Bannon, you probably know, is famous for being the guy that wrote Alien. He also worked on Dark Star with John Carpenter. Ultimately, they decided to also bring Dan O'Bannon on as director, so he wrote and directed. I believe it might have been one of his first directing jobs. Miguel Nunez, who also appeared in Friday the 13th Part 5 the same year that this was released. And then, let's not forget that Tom Matthews played Tommy Jarvis in Jason Lives in 1986. We've got James Karen, who was in Poltergeist, and he really fucks up. His character, apparently, in these movies really fucks up. He's the one that built the neighborhood over Indian burial ground and Poltergeist, and he's the one that lets the fucking zombies loose and Return of the Living Dead. So John Karen, he's a bad omen. And then Clu Gulager was also in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, that came out also the same year as Return of the Living Dead. Not to mention that Clu Gulager is the father of John Gulager, who directed the Feast movies. Of course, we've got Linnea Quigley, who was in like every 80s B-movie horror that you can think of. Alright, so now that we got all those horror connections out of the way, let's talk about how fucking awesome this movie is. First of all, let's start with the plot in case you haven't seen it, and there will be spoilers, a few spoilers in this video. The plot is that basically what happened in Night of the Living Dead from 1968 in this movie was a real event. Then George Romero made a movie about this real event, but the U.S. Army threatened to sue his ass if he gave like all the correct details. So then George Romero changed the details about the zombies around, how they behaved and whatever. So apparently that was a real thing that happened, and all those zombies, when they finally got contained by the army, they were shipped in these barrels that were supposed to go somewhere like to top secret to keep the zombies, you know, fucking contained. Instead, they went to this medical supply place where the employees that worked there did not notify the army of this mistake. They kept the barrels down in their basement for 14 years, and then one day Frank is training the new guy, what's his name, Freddy, and he's telling him about these barrels of zombies from Night of the Living Dead. You want to go see them? Let's go check them out. And then that's when all hell breaks loose. These zombies that are vastly different, actually, from the zombies in Night of the Living Dead. They're faster. They're indestructible. They're your worst fucking nightmare because you cannot... There's no solution. There's nothing that you can do about these zombies. Everything you try to do makes the situation worse. I love that about this movie, though. That's fucking great. It's kind of, nihilistic a little bit. Like, there's nothing you can do. You can try and burn them to ashes. The smoke will go up in the air, cause this acid rain, and come down and create more fucking zombies. You're screwed. And this was also... these are all ways that Dan O'Bannon wanted to differentiate their zombies and their movie from Night of the Living Dead and their zombies that were slow flesh eaters. And this one we got fast, indestructible, brain-eating zombies. Now, this is the movie, Return of the Living Dead, that made the idea that zombies want to eat your brains famous.
Brains.
Brains only.
I guess it had never really been mentioned up until this point. And in this movie, they're just all about eating your brain because apparently, after having been reanimated, being dead is very painful to them, and eating our brains makes them feel all better. So it's like Haagen-Dazs for zombies. Anyway, so we've got two stories going on, and they ultimately collide and come together. Towards the end of the movie, we have, as just previously stated, the medical supply employees let loose this disaster. They bring these zombies back out, and now they're trying to deal with the situation. They're trying to contain it. They're trying to find a solution. We also got the punk rock characters who bring a sense of fun and irreverence to the movie. They're hanging out in a graveyard waiting for Freddy to get off work, and when the rain comes down and brings the zombies back to life and shit hits the fan. And then ultimately, towards the end, these two stories come together and all the characters are fighting for their lives inside this graveyard mortuary medical supply location. A lot of people call this the punk rock zombie movie because of the characters of the punk rockers, and they're in there and they have that energy. But I really feel like it's actually more grounded than that. The other characters who are older, supposed to be more mature, they're not teenager characters, they're older individuals trying to fucking fix this mess that they created. That's what most of the movie is about, and I feel like it wouldn't be as popular if the whole movie was just the punk rockers. Of course it would be known as, oh, that punk rock zombie movie, but I don't think it would have clicked or worked as well as it does if it wasn't for being grounded in the A story, which is the characters trying to fix the mess that they created. And then the punk rockers, that's the B story, and it ultimately comes together and it all works together. But I really think it's the grounding of watching these adult characters fuck up and try and fix their mistake, and then ultimately it affects a younger generation. Maybe there's some kind of subtext there, something that's being said about, generational differences. I don't know. That's a little too deep. But so this is that 1980s fucking classic B horror punk rock zombie movie that changed the rules, brought in a whole new breed of zombie. I think it's great. Like, there's situations where they're talking about the rules. This is how the movie is meta. And in fact, it might be one of the first meta horror movies that refers to another horror movie and then about the rules.
In that movie, they destroyed the brain to kill him. Is that what they did?
The brains, right!
Yeah.
So they're talking about Night of the Living Dead. How do we kill this thing? Well, in the movie they destroy the brain and then it dies. So then they try that and it doesn't work. But it's cool that they mention Night of the Living Dead and what the rules are, or what they thought the rules were, of taking care of zombies. And turns out they're wrong, because this is a whole new fucking breed. They can't be stopped. Hit them in the head, nothing. Cut the head off, nothing. Cut them into pieces. Shit, the little pieces still jump around and try and attack people. Burn them to completely, it still creates more zombies, so that's awesome. So many fucking things to talk about. Let's get through this. I think my favorite character is the mortician, played by Don Calfa. I like him because he's funny, and the way he reacts to things is fun to watch. I think he's a integral character because he's the mortician. He knows a lot about death. He's the guy that can provide a lot of exposition and give you information that you need to know about what rigor mortis is like and what dying is like or what it would look or smell like or whatever. So that's cool. And why does he have a gun? Like, fucking why? Was he waiting for a zombie apocalypse? Why does this dude have a gun? He's a mortician. Is that something I don't know about? Did they always have guns? And you know what else is funny? Like, he's so eager to actually take what he thinks are rabid weasels out into the parking lot and shoot them. Like, it's almost like that's his idea of a good time. He's like, what? Chance to shoot something with my gun that I have for some reason? The two characters that cause all this, you know, Freddy and Frank, they get hit by the steam or the gas from the tank when it cracks, and then over the course of the movie they very slowly die and become zombies. And I gotta say, fucking bravo to their performance, because it's painful to watch them die. It looks painful as fuck. They look like just hella sick, like something you would never want to catch. They're shaking and pale and sweating at the same time, and like eyes are like sinking in, and it's just fucked up. Tarman, we're introduced to Tarman in this movie. He's become now one of the most famous horror movie zombies ever. He's gross, he's slimy, he's black, he's a skeleton, he moves around all weird and shit. He eats people's heads, he eats their brains, he can talk, it's cool. And then we're also introduced to the half-corpse woman that they have a conversation with. They ask her about, which of course would be impossible, there would be no way for her to form words, but it's a fucking Hollywood movie. They talk to her about, why do you eat brains? And she's telling them, it makes the pain go away. That was my terrible impression. We've got Linnea fucking Quigley dancing around naked in a graveyard for no reason other than, here's some titties. Here's titties. Here they are. I probably can't really show you that. Go watch the movie, you pervert. You'll like it. Let me make sure. I always forget something. Fuck it. I'll forget it this time. Let's just move on to the ratings, because this movie's badass. Gosh, I don't know. It's kind of groundbreaking. It's classic. It's memorable. It's fun. They changed the game. It introduced a whole new kind of zombie. This movie, it's timeless, I think. I'm going to give it a 4.5, actually. I'm going to give that fucking movie a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really, if you've not seen it, you're doing yourself a disservice. Check out Return of the Living Dead. It's hella fun. Thanks to my Patreon supporters for voting this movie through. They're the ones, I gave them some choices. They said, hey, let's hear you talk about Return of the Living Dead. If you guys want to get involved in that, go to the link below or at the end of this video, become a Patreon supporter, and you can vote for upcoming reviews as well as see extended outtakes and all that other bullshit. Moving on. Alright, so thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out! Okay, I'm done. I'm out then. I'm out the door. It's getting hot as fuck. I'm gonna go get high and then edit this shit. Bye.